Every woman deserves to feel vibrant, safe, loved, and feel her power. The Woman's Vibrancy Code podcast is here for a potent use of your time. We will cover energy, hormones, and libido with episodes that also dive into entrepreneurship, money mindset, feminine power, and much, much more. Introducing Maraya Brown, Yale and functional medicine trained women's health expert, midwife, mom, and entrepreneur.
All right, welcome back to the Women's Vibrancy Code. This is going live in August, although while I'm recording it, I am in beautiful Santa Barbara. Many of you may hear me say, it's good to create some disruption or you will be disrupted. So myself and my family are on a month-and-a-half long trip. And while you're listening to this, I'm in beautiful Southern California. And today we're going to be talking about adrenal health, solutions for fatigue, weight gain, anxiety, insomnia, loss of libido, and much, much more. If you're not even clear with what adrenals are or what adrenal health is, what I want you to listen into is if you are finding yourself tired, if you are finding yourself waking between 1 and 4 a.m. with your mind buzzing and your body exhausted, if you are having a really hard time with perimenopause or menopause, if you're experiencing a loss of libido, if you have put on more weight specifically around your abdomen, and if you have been diagnosed with hypothyroidism, Hashimoto's, anything like that, all of that can be related to your adrenals as well as anxiety, depression. I mean, your adrenals, particularly for women, are really important. And I want you to really listen into this. You'll likely want to take some notes. You're welcome to reach out to me and plan on drinking your adaptogen elixirs every morning and throughout the day. The elixir that I'm drinking today has collagen powder. It has a golden milk mix that I found. I added some matcha into this one, which generally I do not add anything with caffeine, but I did add a little bit of matcha into this one, and it's a unique flavor mixing the golden milk and the matcha. I don't think I'll do it again. Generally, I'll use 4-Sigmatic or Rasa as my adaptogen base. And as a reminder, you want your adaptogen, you want your protein source. For me, that's collagen. Then you want your fat source. I'm using CBD oil. Okay, let's get into it. So first of all, once again, let's really kind of cover what are the symptoms that might be presenting if you're coming to me. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, oh, we need to give some adrenals some love and care. So like I said, tired and buzzing. If you find yourself feeling snappy, hangry, meaning hungry, angry easily, not responding well to stress, getting agitated easily, waking up in the morning feeling tired, like you didn't get restful sleep. Hair loss is another one. If you're noticing your hair is thinning, you're losing more hair. If you are noticing salt cravings or getting dizzy easily, getting dizzy when you're going from sitting to standing, from lying down to sitting, or just throughout the day. Like I mentioned, if you've been diagnosed with a thyroid condition, if you are struggling with anxiety or depression, feeling cold often, any autoimmune condition, if your menstrual cycle is super irregular, if you are noticing an increase to food intolerances or sensitivities. You used to be able to eat gluten just fine, and now you're noticing more aches and pains in your bodies, more stomach upset, more bloating. You used to be able to handle dairy just fine, but now when you have dairy, once again, bloating, stomach upset, bumps on your arm, rashes. If you're a woman who has struggled with infertility in the past or currently struggling, I want you to really listen up. If you're noticing that you're losing the outside of your eyebrows, there are little subtle ways that your adrenal well-being can show up. And keep in mind that symptoms are not your adrenals. Okay, the symptoms are the underlying thing that we would like to address. And so, yes, let's get away the symptoms. Let's care for the symptoms. And I don't want you to be driving your car, notice the check engine light is on. You go into the dealership and the guy takes the hammer to the light and there you go, the check engine light is out and they send you on your merry way. That's not the type of approach that you're going to find here. And I hope it's not the type of approach that you're looking for. That type of Band-Aid care, taking the next supplement, getting the next prescription to simply address the symptom, is like taking the check engine light off with a hammer and never looking under the hood. Okay. So come to someone like me, who is an expert in women's health and hormones and adrenal health, someone who has functional medicine training, so that we can hear your symptoms, address your symptoms so that you start feeling better, but also get to the underlying cause to give your adrenals some love and care. So once again, this is not about a quick fix. There are some things that I can help you to start feeling better more quickly. But when it comes to adrenal health, it really is kind of a long game, depending on for how long you've been under stress and your adrenals are tired, and that somebody's knocking on the door saying, hey, adrenals, we need you. And they're like, sorry, don't have anything left. Tank is empty. Depending on how long that's been going on, sometimes we're talking 3, 6, 9, 12 months, even 2 years to fully recover. And that was me. So after I gave birth to baby number 2, so some background, I've always been a career woman. I've always loved to work. And when I gave birth to my first child in 2012, I had recovered from a pretty devastating miscarriage. I was juggling kind of like 5 different jobs, to be honest with you. I was catching babies, both in a hospital setting as well as the second midwife in a home birth setting. I was teaching childbirth education classes. I was doing the women's health at a local private practice. I was living on the Big Island of Hawaii. I was doing placenta encapsulation. I was running our Airbnb, and I also had a network marketing franchise. And then I gave birth, and it was spectacular, and I was in love. And that child happened to not sleep for more than an hour until he was more than a year old. I was actually 18 months. And then I got pregnant, and we moved to be home closer to family in Southern Oregon. I gave birth to baby number 2. And after that was when my health really crashed. And in my scenario, I had body aches. I was exhausted. I didn't want to be touched. I had no libido. I had rashes, aches and pains in my body, couldn't sleep, you name it. And I continued to go, and did not ask for help. Please do not do what I do, at least what I did back then. If you are experiencing any of that, please ask for help. I waited way too long. And by the time I finally got some good support, my thyroid had crashed, my adrenals had crashed, and it took a good 1 to 2 years to fully feel like I was a normal, functional being again. And yes, I can tell you my energy is phenomenal now. My libido is back. The aches and pains are gone. I'm sleeping well, all of the things. But I want you to really listen to this episode and start taking steps now and not wait. So let's talk about adrenal fatigue. I'm going to talk about the stages. We'll talk more about symptoms so that you know what might be happening in your body and when to raise your hand and go ask for help. I want you to know that there are some long-term consequences. So you know me, I believe in law of attraction. I believe in prayer. I don't want to instill fear in you. And I do want you to know that if you continue to not listen into your body, if you continue to live a high stress life, not prioritize yourself, not address what's going in and out of your eyes, your mouth, your heart, there are some real long-term consequences of not giving your adrenals what they need, i.e. reducing the stress level. That can be what research has shown is breast and lung cancer, PCOS, your thyroid crashing, whether it's being diagnosed with hypothyroidism or Hashimoto's, infertility, cardiovascular mortality has been associated with not caring for your adrenals over time, chronic migraines, as well as MS. And I want to say out loud early on that childhood trauma is also a source of stress. And we know that it increases the risk of what's called a flattened cortisol curve. So cortisol is the hormone that your body produces under fight, flight, or freeze. Okay. It's a really important hormone to prepare for your day. When I look at your Dutch Plus or your 24-hour cortisol curve, I want to see your cortisol go up in the morning, that 30-minute mark, the 1 hour mark, and then there's a normal curve that your cortisol takes throughout the day so that we can run fast, so that we can prepare for our day. And what happens is if you've had a lot of childhood trauma, if you've had a lot of stress in your life, if you've continued to eat crap food, not sleep well, drink contaminated air, not filter your water. I mean, there's so many sources of stress, once again, into your eyes, your mouth, and your heart. Over time, what happens is it will increase your chance of a flattened cortisol curve, meaning your adrenals, your body lose the ability to spike cortisol at all. So now you have no coping mechanism for the normal activities of daily living. You wake up tired, you are tired throughout the day, your affect will feel flat, you won't sleep, you'll have aches and pains in your body, okay? And some of that does come from childhood trauma, even birth trauma. And so for the women that come into my internal space in the Women's Vibrancy Code Mastermind space or into my VIP space, of course, we address it all. Okay, what's going in and out of your mouth from diet modification, supplementation, stress reduction, mindset, but also trauma release. Okay, there's so, oh my gosh, I could go on and on. Let's talk about steps to healing. Let's talk about how to assess your quantifiable cortisol curve and look at what your body is handling right now from a stress management perspective. And I'll talk about foods, environment, lifestyle, and then phases of detox. So here we go. Let's put our seatbelt on and let's get into this. So once again, more symptoms so that you're really leading in. If you're waking tired, you're having that afternoon slump, struggling with insomnia, specifically that 1 to 4 a.m. wake up, that I often hear. When I hear that, I think of adrenals. If you're someone who skips meals often, or you just do quick meals that are high sugar, like maybe you're someone who eats cereal for breakfast or just oatmeal with no nuts or seeds. Maybe you eat muffins, you go to Starbucks and get your sweet frappuccinos. You skip meals often. You look at your plate and it's a lot of refined carbohydrates. You're eating lots of sweets in the evening time. That will lead to your blood sugars going like a roller coaster out of whack. And so now you're hangry, you're irritable, your mood is all over the place, your energy is all over the place, your weight is all over the place, and your adrenals are tired. So the important thing for women in particular is as we progress through stages of life, such as postpartum, such as perimenopause and menopause, the adrenals become that much more important, because when the ovaries are taking a pause or slowing down, the production of our sex hormones, okay, our estrogen being the big one, but also progesterone and testosterone, as the ovaries slow down, the adrenals get the knock on the door. And they can take over the brunt of hormone production, okay? There's all different places in our body. Our skin can be producing hormones. Our fat stores hormones. One of the reasons why for women going through perimenopause and menopause, often they notice an increase in their breast size as well as some extra abdominal weight. Part of that is the body compensating, putting on some extra fat to store the estrogen because the ovaries are slowing down. So once again, blood sugars are all over the place. You're skipping meals, not eating good food. Now what happens is the adrenals get taxed. And particularly during this perimenopause and menopause phase, as well as postpartum, the knock on the door goes to the adrenals. The adrenals say, sorry, got nothing. And now women are experiencing hot flashes, menstrual migraines, pronounced irritability, a drop in their libido, energy plummets because the adrenals are too tired. They're too taxed. So when I say we need to practice stress reduction, really fuel our bodies now, it's not just to address the symptoms that you're currently experiencing, but it's also to prevent the things that you never, hopefully you'll never know would have happened had you not cared for your adrenals. Okay. If you're someone who has really intense cravings for sweets, salty, simple carbohydrates, even cheese, often that craving is coming from an underlying place. Your body's longing for more protein, fat, or fiber. Your body's longing for minerals, particularly salt. That is definitely a sign of your adrenals needing extra love. Same with thyroid. On that note, you can just add some pink Himalayan sea salt into your water as long as your blood pressure isn't totally out of control. And also keep in mind, I am a provider. I'm not your provider. So always consult with your provider. In this blood sugar conversation, often what will happen is your willpower goes out the door. So one of the symptoms that will happen is you lose your willpower to make healthy food choices. You're driving to the natural food store where they have this amazing salad bar you're going to have for lunch. And then there on the passenger seat is a bag of potato chips or cookies. And you realize you've gone so long without food, you just can't even handle it. And you eat the whole bag. Okay. That is less an issue of willpower. It is more an issue of your blood sugar management. And it's really your blood sugar stabilization over the last 24 hours. Okay. So when we're talking about adrenal health, we're also talking about blood sugar management. So no skipping meals. Okay. For those of you that are doing intermittent fasting, if you're in my space, I do not agree with intermittent fasting in the morning. Okay. Our cortisol spikes in the morning. Our bodies need food. Okay. They need quality food, predominantly protein, fat, fiber, okay, color. So if you're going to do an intermittent fast, absolutely finish your last caloric intake with dinner, ideally finish within 4 hours of going to bed, but no snacking in the evening, no eating in the evening. So there's 4 hours from the last time you've eaten until you go to bed. Now you sleep for 8 hours. There's your 12-hour intermittent fast. Awesome. Your gut's been able to rest and digest. You've had quality sleep. Your metabolism is slow in the evening time anyway. So now we're helping for the weight stabilization. And when you wake up, you get quality fat, fiber, protein. Okay. No skipping meals throughout the day. I don't want you to ever go more than 4 hours without some quality food. And when you look at your plate, let's say half your plate is coming from produce world, nuts, seeds, something that's been picked, something that's been grown from the ground, and ideally 3 colors on every plate. And your white, your yellow, and your brown do not count. Okay. So that's going to really help your blood sugar management. And if you can count it up at the end of the day and you've covered every single color, now we're really, really, really good. One other symptom that can show up with adrenal fatigue or adrenal exhaustion is digestive upset and issues, indigestion. Maybe you're not absorbing the food that you're eating. And so, that shows up in all different ways, brain fog, sluggishness. Okay. Maybe you're struggling with diarrhea, burping, flatulence, gas, constipation, bloating. And then that poor digestion is also going to impact your hair, skin, and nails because it ends up showing up in vitamin mineral deficiency because your body's not absorbing the nutrients, because you weren't handling the stress level, because your adrenals weren't being cared for, right? Can you see how it's all tied in together, as well as weight gain? So if you're someone who has put on a bunch of weight recently, you're doing the same thing and the weight won't go away. If you're someone who's specifically putting on more weight in the abdominal area, often it can be because of poor gut health. It can be because your adrenals aren't cared for. It can be because your thyroid is crashing because your adrenals haven't been cared for. Okay. The other thing is increased illness due to immune system suppression. If you're noticing you're getting sick often, when your adrenals aren't cared for, and they're in constant fight, flight, or freeze. Listen, if you're being chased by a lion, there's a few things that happen. Your immune system gets shut off, your digestion gets shut off, your clarity of thought gets shut off, and your hormone production gets shut off. Those 4 things are not important in the context of I'm about to be eaten and being chased by a lion. And so if you're someone who's getting sick often, we go back to what's going on with your adrenal well-being. Same with if you've been diagnosed with an autoimmune condition, hormonal imbalances, irregular menstrual cycle, painful periods, fibroids, decrease in libido, estrogen-dependent cancers like ovarian cancer, colon cancer, breast cancer, infertility, recurrent miscarriages. All of this we can tie back to adrenal well-being and mood swings. Okay, so if you're snappy, if you're struggling with depression, anxiety, all of this can tie back to adrenals. So what are some things that we can do about it? A good amount about blood sugar management. Start your day with a smoothie. Start your day with an adaptogen elixir. Okay. Get in your protein, sneak extra color, sneak extra nutrients in. For your elixir, can you sneak in a little bit of spirulina powder? Can you sneak in some golden milk? Okay. Can you sneak in a couple different types of quality fats? Maybe some MCT oil and CBD oil. For your smoothies, holy macaroni, take all the cut up fruits and vegetables from yesterday that didn't get eaten, throw them in your blender. You can add in some cauliflower, some kale, or some broccoli to help detoxify estrogen. Your nut milks, your plant powders, your protein powders, okay? Your ground flax, your nuts, your seeds, your hemp seeds. I mean, there's so much there to help with blood sugar stabilization. And then the other thing is soups. Soups are a great solution to once again sneak in high nutritional density, cook them down, eat the broth, eat the soup. And, you don't have to eat a lot. My preference is small meals. So if you're someone who tends to eat out a lot, when you eat out, most restaurants, I would say cut it in fourths. Whatever you're served, just take 3/4 of it off the plate, ask for a to-go container. If you're eating at home and you tend to use big plates, can you use smaller plates so that we're doing smaller portions and eating more often? Okay. From an adrenal support perspective, talking about supplementation, for some of you, a methylated B complex is going to be powerful. How do you know if it's methylated? Look in the ingredients, and you should see methylfolate as well as methylcobalamin in the ingredients. That's just a little tip. Vitamin D as in dog is going to support immune health as well as overall well-being. There's so much there. But on average, the majority of us need 5,000 international units a day. Many of us are deficient in magnesium. For those of you that stay in my space, I'm not a big advocate of a whole lot of vitamins. You're never going to hear me recommend a multivitamin. I would much rather that we get our nutrients through food. But magnesium is one of those, even if we eat a diet rich in lots and lots of plants and wide variety, many of the plants that we're eating are grown in soil that's depleted, unless you're growing your own or you're growing aeroponically. I love my tower garden. But magnesium is going to help with elimination. It's going to help with muscle aches and pains, as well as giving your foundational adrenals what they need. So on average, 200 to 400 milligrams per day. Magnesium citrate if you struggle with constipation, magnesium glycinate if you struggle with aches and pains and anxiety and tension in your body. Probiotic rich foods are always going to be lovely, such as your, non-dairy kefir, yogurt, kombucha, miso soup, sauerkraut, right? All of your fermented foods. But even more important than probiotics is your prebiotics, okay? Prebiotics go into the body and they help the good bacteria do a better job at what it's intended to do. So your examples are your onions, your garlic, artichoke, Jerusalem artichoke, chicory root, beans, your high fiber foods that tend to be gas producing. Not all gas is bad. Sometimes it's simply because that good bacteria is being activated and turned on. In some scenarios, if you've been tested, if you've been seen and someone has looked at your 24-hour cortisol, and it really is looking that your adrenals are hit and hit hard, adaptogens, you hear me talk about adaptogens all the time. So adaptogens help the body better adapt to stress. There's lots of them, okay? Reishi and chaga are going to be great for immune health. Cordyceps is great for energy. Shatavari is helpful for juiciness and sexual libido. Ashwagandha is good for your thyroid. I mean, I don't need to give a laundry list or leave you overwhelmed. Don't leave. If you're listening, you're like, I don't even know what she's talking about. She's speaking another language. The main thing is reach out to me, reach out to someone who really knows adrenal health, who really knows how to work with adaptogens. And they're going to go in and help give your body what it needs. But also in some scenarios, actually adding glandular animal-based adrenal supplementation, same with thyroid supplementation, can go in and really give the body that extra love and care that it's needing. Some things not to do. Okay, for many of you that are tired, you're just upping the caffeine. Caffeine is a no-go if you are struggling with adrenal fatigue because it depletes the body. Okay, it's going to make it harder for your body to absorb the nutrients that you're eating. It might give you the buzz. It might give you a little bit of energy, but I promise you it's not serving you. I would much rather you use cordyceps, starts with a C. And like I said, no more intermittent fasting in the morning. If you're going to do an intermittent fast, stop eating after dinner, eat an early dinner, and then no more caloric intake. Many of you do the ketogenic diet. Not a big fan. I mean, maybe, like little snippets for like a week here or there to lose a little bit of weight, but it really is not good for our cardiovascular well-being, our kidneys. Okay. It is predominantly a lot of poor, not so great fat. Okay. I would much rather you go to a plant-based diet, more Mediterranean style, but more than anything, I don't want you on a diet. I don't want you to do these big swings and try this for a week and that for a month. It's about finding a lifestyle that can be sustained, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, so that there's some stabilization of weight and mood and well-being. One other thing to know is if you've ever been on the pill or you're currently on some type of progestin, the pharmaceutical progesterone, like the progesterone IUD or the implant, even some hormone replacement therapies, there's a lot of research showing that it's sending the adrenals into hyperdrive. You can listen to the episode in the Women's Vibrancy Code podcast that I did with Dr. Sarah Hill. It is episode number 8, Your Brain on the Pill. It's worth listening to if you have questions around what might be going on with your adrenals that could be caused by being on the pill. Okay. Regarding testing, like I said, my preference is to look at a 24-hour cortisol pattern. Most often, that's going to be collected via your saliva. Okay. Hear this loud and clear. If all your provider is ordering is blood tests, they cannot look at your adrenal well-being. Okay. The test that I order for all the clients that come into my inner circle is going to be the Dutch Plus. The Dutch dried urine total comprehensive hormones is urine. And I'm able to look at your sex hormones as well as how your body is metabolizing them. And I can look at your 24-hour cortisol curve, including the cortisol awakening response, meaning what happens when you first wake up and what are your adrenals doing throughout the day. Now, granted, it's just one 24-hour period in a snapshot. If it happens to be a highly stressful 24 hours, we take that into consideration. And it says a lot about to what degree are your adrenals feeling tired or exhausted, and for how long has this been going on. It also helps me to fine tune the time of day to bring in specific support. Okay, so for those of you that are having that afternoon crash or high anxiety before going to bed and not able to go to sleep, often I will see that in your cortisol curve and make some specific recommendations with adaptogens, blood sugar support, diet modification, supplementation, lifestyle change, breathing change, all of that at specific times in the day. Let's talk about the stages of adrenal fatigue. There's really 3 main stages. So for the most part, the body is capable of making hormones just fine. Okay. And when the body gets tired, once again, it goes knocking on the door of the adrenals. And if the adrenals have already been in hyperdrive because of stress, or they're trying to keep the thyroid functioning, they're trying to deal with trauma from childhood, okay? Maybe the body's starting to slow down and you're not ovulating on a regular basis. There's so many things that can be adding stress to your adrenals. And especially if you're one of those type A, energized, top of their game, go, go, go individuals. A lot of the women that come into my space are very ambitious women, okay? They are up to big things in the world. They want to make a lot of money. They want to make a lot of impact. They're running businesses. They're accustomed to prioritizing their business coaching and their to-do, and they're getting everything done, and they're good at it, and they're highly educated, and they're perfectionists, and they're tired and they're stressed out and they're doing it from a masculine model. And what happens is the adrenals become exhausted. And so now their experience of perimenopause is crap, and the hot flashes are big, and the libido's gone, and the irritability is pronounced, and they're tired. And what are they doing about it? They're adding in extra caffeine. They're white knuckling it. And I'll tell you, it's not the solution. If that's you, please stop. Okay. Please allow yourself to take a pause. If your drug of choice is business, reach out to me. Okay. There's other ways. Listen, Messy makes millions. I'm a very successful CEO and entrepreneur, and I allow myself to take a pause. Okay. I want your quality of life and my quality of life to be solid. It's not just about the number of breaths that we take, but the number of moments that take our breath away. And we can create abundance in a feminine, magnetic, flowing, messy, imperfect way. Okay. Stage 1 of adrenal fatigue is what we think of as wired and tired. Okay. Often cortisol is high, especially at night. So women aren't sleeping, they're noticing extra weight gain, blood sugars are out of balance, and it's often an edgy energy. Okay, stage 2 is called stressed and tired. So stage 1 was wired and tired. Now, if we're on to stage 2, it's stressed and tired. Okay, that's not just insomnia, but really waking in that 2 to 4 a.m., 1 to 4 a.m. time period, mind buzzing, body exhausted, you're woken up and you can't go back to sleep. Okay. Afternoon stress is high, cortisol peaks early and then flattens out. So I'll see cortisol spike and then drop and just go. Often women in stage 2 are needing a second dose of caffeine in the afternoon to keep going. And then often there's a second wind in the evening where now you're like up and going, but now you can't go to sleep, right? There's more irritability. So stage 1 is edgy, but you still have energy. Stage 2 is irritable and pissy. Then we move into stage 3, which is truly adrenal exhaustion. Okay. When I look at your cortisol curve, it's flat. Your adrenals often produce what's called DHEA. I've done another podcast episode just on DHEA. Often your DHEA production will start to go down. Your thyroid has often been diagnosed with hypothyroidism. It's low. Often testosterone is low, progesterone is low, digestion is low, bloating is high, absorption is low. So all the other byproducts of that, women often feel puffy, okay, breaking down behind the scenes, okay, just trying to grip life and out in the world, make it seem like you're functioning and everything is fine, but really behind closed doors, it feels like it's all falling apart. And this, if you're to this chapter, really, truly, it's time for extensive help. Like there is no more saving table scraps for yourself. There's no more waiting to see, okay? If you are experiencing any of these symptoms, no permission needed, you need help. You need to reach out. Let's figure out what it looks like to work together. You know, even if you do one of my evergreen courses that you can do in your own timing, we can talk about the mastermind, we can talk about my VIP program. It is time. It is time to get in with the right tests, the right support, and really address from a comprehensive perspective your diet, your lifestyle, your mindset, your trauma release, your breath work, your stress reduction, all of it. So how do we heal? Well, my first question is, what's your routine? What's your rhythm? Is there an inhale and an exhale to your day, to your week, to your month? Okay. Are you able to create a rhythm in your waking and sleeping times? Can you look at your calendar and be more realistic with the must-dos? Maybe you love to make the to-do list, but your to-do lists are unreasonable. Okay, what can you say no to? As you listen to me talking about blood sugar management, can you be honest with yourself and realize, you really need to eat more vegetables. You really need to cut the sugar out, okay? The gluten and the dairy is not serving you, my friend, okay? Are you drinking your adaptogen elixirs? If not, grab my recipes. And don't get caught up on the details. It doesn't have to be exact. It gives you a starting point. You get some 4-sigmatic, get some rasa. Remember, your adaptogen, your protein source, your fat source, your hot water, your nut milk, your sweetener of choice. I like stevia, okay? How much time are you spending on your phone, in front of the television, zoning out, decompressing? But really, it's not filling your cup at all. Can you shift that? If you're going to be on your phone, can you watch something that actually adds to your soul? Can you spend time journaling, creating? Can you just get off your phone? Can you turn the television off? Get the TV out of the house. Set time frames of the TV's on during this much time in the day, rather than that sound constantly going in the background, that whether or not you're realizing it or accepting it, the news, the advertisements, your unconscious mind is taking it in and it is adding stress to your life, which is compounding your adrenal fatigue. Okay, it either serves you or it doesn't. Reducing blue light, so getting your blue light blockers on your computer, on your phone, limiting how much exposure to your eyes in the evening time. Okay. On the other hand, we want more red light. We want the sun on our face. Okay. We want natural light. When the sun is out, go outside. Okay. And it's not all about diet and supplementation. Okay. I don't want you to have a shelf of supplements. And I definitely don't want you to just go out to some vitamin store and ask an 18-year-old with no real education what supplement you should take. I had somebody yesterday reach out to me, what magnesium and vitamin B should I take? And I said, well, why are you wanting it? What was her answer? She wanted immune health and bone health. I'm like, first of all, who are you? She said her personal trainer had told her, like, who are you asking for directions? And if they've not been there, don't ask them for direction to places that they haven't been. Don't just go out willy-nilly and add random supplements into your body. You're adding an extra job for your liver by adding in that extra supplement, okay? Let's get our nutrients through food. Let's get personalized supplementation that really supports you, okay? And really look at your history of being on the pill, antibiotic use, okay? How often are you getting sick? Have you been exposed to mold? I mean, there's so many different factors, but it's all important. And the point is, I want you to feel great. I want you to feel energized throughout the day. I want your mood to feel stable. I want your libido to be strong. I want your body to feel pain-free. I want your sleep to be solid. I don't want you on a bunch of medications that all have side effects. And now you're on another medication from the side effect from the first medication. And you don't even know, like some people are like, oh, I'm just going to be on this forever. If that's not your solution, reach out to me. Okay. So a couple last little pointers, and then I'm going to close this up. My preference would be regarding sleep routine. Okay. I'm not a big fan of counting calories or counting your macros. Okay. Just eat a lot of plants. Get quality protein in your body. Get a lot of fiber. If it tastes sweet, can we cut it out? Okay. An easy thing is you can look at a food label where it says nutrition facts and just take total carbohydrates divided by total fiber. There's some foods like your peanut butter and things that is not going to work. But for most packaged foods, total carbohydrates divided by total fiber. My preference is at 6 or below. If you're looking at cereals, that's kind of hard, but do the math. Total carbohydrates divided by total fiber, you want the number lower. So if you're deciding between one food versus the other, take the one that has the lower number. Okay, so for instance, if total carbohydrates is 10, total fiber is 5, 10 divided by 5 is 2, right? Good. We're looking for 6 or below. Evening routine, you're going to stop caloric intake, stop food intake after dinner. Ideally, dinner around 6 p.m. If you're going to sleep at 10 p.m., we've got to get 8 hours of quality sleep. I promise if you stop the evening snacking and you keep your blood sugar stable throughout the day, your sleep is going to be much more solid. I haven't even mentioned hydration. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I forgot to mention hydration. My friends, wake up in the morning, start with a tall glass of water. My friends, before you eat a meal, drink a tall glass of water. My friends, hydrate in the evening, but not too much because we don't want to go to sleep with a full bladder. That can stimulate a cortisol spike, an adrenaline spike, and wake you up. Okay, but we want to hydrate well. And then regarding time to have clear expectations, if you have mild fatigue, like that stage 1, we're thinking 6 to 9 months. 6 to 9 months of working with me. Let me give you the hand holding. Let's give you personalized attention. Okay. If you're in that moderate fatigue, that stage 1, I'm really thinking more like 9 to 12 months. You're probably pretty tired. You've probably been white knuckling it for too long. Your symptoms are very real. Okay. Whereas severe fatigue, severe adrenal exhaustion, we're really talking 1 to 2 years. Okay, so the Women's Vibrancy Code Mastermind is a year-long program. We're going to go in there and continue to take the layers of the onion away, give you the hand-holding that you need with one-on-one time, group time, nutrition, supplementation, the right testing, the right support with a comprehensive multidisciplinary team. Okay, but you really need to give yourself time to give your adrenals what they need and what your body needs and what your body wants for the long game. So that way, the next year, 5 years, decades are a much more enjoyable experience. And we don't know the things that we prevent. We don't sit there brushing our teeth saying, this feels so good that I'm not getting a cavity. Okay. We want to do these things to prevent the things that we never will know that would have happened had we not cared for ourselves. So that's really what I'm talking about. Let's address the symptoms now so you can start feeling good in the short term. And let's nip it in the butt. Okay, stop the trajectory so that you don't end up with the long-term consequences of cancers and horrible experience of menopause and all the crummy stuff that I don't even want to talk about. I'd like for you to do something every day that gives you deep joy. That includes orgasms. I want you to find pleasure each and every day, even if it's just looking outside and going, wow, that's beautiful. Taking a sip of nice water. Oh my God, I'm so grateful I have access to clean water. Create pleasure in the simple things. Okay. If joy is too much of a leap, start with satisfied. What are you satisfied with? And think of your body movement time as movement, not exercising, particularly at certain times of the month. If you listen back to the episodes around making decisions around your moon cycle and episode 11 on your 28-day cycle, we do want to start reducing the go, 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 big marathons, big weightlifting, big body movement during certain times of your moon cycle, okay? Because we need to give the adrenals some love and care, and it's okay to rest. It's not earned, it's required. So I'm going to end with that. Rest is not earned, it is required. Prioritizing yourself is not earned, it is required. It is a non-negotiable. So cheers to your adrenal well-being. Cheers to you feeling spectacular. Cheers to energy and libido and feeling great and feeling connected in your relationships, to stable mood and feeling hopeful for your future and having the right support system in place to give you the building blocks so that you stop just shooting darts in the dark or doing random Google searches and trying to figure it out on your own. If you've gone to your providers and you've reported these symptoms and they've said, oh, your labs look normal, everything's fine, or here's a prescription, and that's not your solution, reach out to me. Let's come up with real solutions and get you on your way to feeling totally spectacular so that I can help you move from exhausted to energized, balance your hormones, and feel turned on by your life, your lover, and yourself. Until next time, Maraya Brown with the Women's Vibrancy Code. Ta-ta for now.
Thank you for listening to the Woman's Vibrancy Code. Connect with us and take the first step to transforming your energy, hormones, and libido at thewomensvibrancycode.com. Cheers to your zest and vitality. Make sure to follow for weekly power-packed value.